The toy industry just revealed their biggest trends for 2026. And here's what no one's telling you about what that actually means for your family and your wallet. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Playroom Chronicles podcast. I'm Charlene, and I just got back from Toy Fair in New York City. Now, if you've never heard of Toy Fair, it's basically the Super Bowl of toys, a giant space with lights, noise, booths, glitter, and very enthusiastic adults holding stuffed animals and other toys like they are priceless artifacts, which, honestly, sometimes they are. But why the toy industry is there talking to buyers and retailers, there's some press like myself who get to walk those same aisles, but I do so thinking one thing. What does this actually mean for us moms and dads and grandparents standing in Target in October, staring at a wall of toys, wondering, what am I supposed to do with this? Now, every year, the Toy Association, who puts on Toy Fair, also puts out their official toy trend list for the year coming up. And I love it. It's generally useful, but it's written for the toy industry and for toy retailers, not for parents. So today I want to do that toy trend translation, showing you those 6 big toy trends for 2026, but in parenting language, right? One, what each one means for your playroom, your kid, and yes, your wallet. But here's the one through line I want you to keep in mind as we go through these. These trends aren't really about new toys. They're about what people are craving right now. Connection, comfort, identity, creativity, nostalgia, belonging, right? The toys are just the packaging. So for each trend, ask yourself, what's the need underneath this? And how can I meet that need in a way that actually works for my family? Okay, so let's get into it. The first trend is called Forever Young. It's basically the toy industry is saying adults are buying toys for themselves in record numbers. When I read that trend, I laughed a little bit because if you've ever met an adult Lego person, a board game collector, or someone with a shelf full of figurines, you know this is not new, but it is a trend that has exploded. In fact, 81% of parents said they plan to buy a toy or game for themselves last holiday season. And I think a lot of it started with COVID when we were home and we were with the kids and we picked up a puzzle or a game and then realized, hey, this is actually fun. Why aren't we doing this more, right? But here's what it means for you today. First, stop pretending. If you bought that puzzle for the kids, but you're the one who stayed up at midnight finishing it, that's okay. Because when kids see adults valuing play, it sends a message that play isn't something that you grow out of. It's something that you grow with. So the next time you are drawn to something on the shelf, lean into it. Talk to your kids about why you love it. Play together, model it, whatever have you. But this trend has a negative side that a lot of people don't talk about, but I think it's important to do so. Adults are now competition in the toy aisle. So if your kid wants something and you think, oh, I'll come back for this next week, don't. Because you're not just competing with other kids anymore. You're competing with adult collectors and resellers who will buy it up and flip it at a higher price. So shop early. Most big holiday toys hit shelves in July. Yes, July. So put it on your calendar right now to browse the toy aisles when you're already doing your back to school shopping. You'll thank me, trust me. Trend number 2 is what they're calling cozy culture. And it's the toy industry's way of saying families are exhausted and overstimulated and looking for active ways to slow down through play. Because everybody is on screens, right? Everyone's nervous system right now is just vibrating. And what I noticed at Toy Fair is that a lot of the most interesting booths weren't shouting, hey, new tech, new, hot STEM toy with something jumping out of an egg or a box or whatever. Instead, it was a lot of come sit down. In fact, there's 2 brands that are actually launching board games. They've never had board games in any of their toy company history, but they are leaning into creating and producing and selling board games. That right there shows that they're realizing they need to produce more of those come sit down, right? Stuff that you can do with your hands, stuff that slows time down. Now, I'll be honest, part of me wants to roll my eyes a little bit because this shouldn't be considered a trend, right? It's the basics of play. But I also think sometimes we do need the toy industry to name something before we give ourselves permission to lean into it. So here we are. But what does this mean for you at home? Well, First off, know that this kind of play doesn't have to be one of those whole big family game night productions. Like sometimes cozy culture is just 10 minutes and you pull out a diamond art kit or a sticker book or some kinetic sand or some putty or some Play-Doh and just do it for 10 minutes, right? And most of you probably already own these things. They're just hiding in a closet or bin somewhere. So one of my favorite simple moves is that instead of a decorative bowl on your coffee table with a candle in it that you probably never light, put some fidgets in it, or mini Play-Doh containers, or a small stack of activity books and gel pens, right? Make play an invitation. A play an invitation to stop for a moment, put down the screen, put down the remote control. Take 10 minutes to slow down. Because when kids are overwhelmed, and when we're overwhelmed, you don't need to tell them to say, go play. They just need you to make play easy to start. All right. Toy trend number 3 is called Inspiring Inventors. And it's basically this creator culture driving STEM and building and design toys. And this one is fascinating because kids are growing up watching other kids build things online, right? It used to be Saturday morning cartoons that drove toy demand. But now it's creator culture. Kids are watching unboxing and building. Watch me make this, right? Watch me design this. Ryan's World kind of started this movement, and then you have like Miss Rachel, and now there's just so many. And the toy industry is responding with making these building sets and design toys that kids have seen on the screen from their favorite creator. Because kids want toys now from people that they watch and admire from TikTok and YouTube, not just characters from a movie. But here's your parenting move. Yes, you can go out and buy that latest Miss Rachel toy. You can go out and buy that latest collaboration with a TikTok star. But I want you to have them be the inventor themselves. For example, a lot of kids want to go out and buy the toy, but they also want to role play as well, right? Kids are like, hey, mom, dad, can I borrow your phone? If they don't have a phone yet themselves, so they can go pretend that they're doing an unboxing video with the toy sitting in their playroom. But I want you to flip the script a little bit. I want you to have them think about them being the inventor, them being the creator, not the creator on the container of YouTube or TikTok, the actual thing, right? So start collecting random things around your house, cardboard pieces, tape, rubber bands, straws, paper clips, interesting containers, anything that's material, put it in a big bin, keep it. And then when your kid says, I want to go buy this latest toy, first have them go grab that creator box and give them a prompt like, go design something that no one's ever seen before. A game, a toy, a machine, a pet hotel. You don't care. It's just this idea of you want them to start thinking like a creator and an inventor. Because kids who invent don't need you to entertain them, right? They can entertain themselves. That's a real win. And then you're teaching them to be creative and critical thinkers. So I like this trend, but I want you to think about the trend themselves as a way to get your child to start thinking about being an entrepreneur and an inventor too. If you want more toy guidance, just hit subscribe or head to playroomchronicles.com/funvault for free printables to download. Okay, so trend number 4 is called Express Yourself, which is basically this blind box phenomenon, right? The bag charm moment, that little collectible that says something about who you are. And I want to say this carefully because I know what you're thinking and what you're up against. More tiny plastic things, right? And those $5 purchases can add up fast. But the toy companies doing this well are the ones where the collectible isn't just the latest thing, but it's something that actually reflects the person carrying it, right? The Asian blind box market does this beautifully, in my opinion. And it's, I think, one of the reasons why it's having such a big moment, because it's not just about the cute, weird face. It's the story behind the character. Crybaby, for example, is all about the messaging of it's okay to cry and feel your emotions openly. And that's identity and that's meaning. And the best US companies are starting to catch up. But what do you do when your kid wants the latest collectible? Well, this time I don't want you to just say yes and keep buying them or even no and moving on. I want you to have a conversation. Well, why this one? What do they love about it? What does it mean to them? And then use the blind box moment to actually practice real life. Because if they open it and it's not the one they wanted, well, it's not a crisis, it's a lesson, right? You got to talk about disappointment. But then you can talk about training and problem solving and the social opportunity. Maybe they can establish a monthly swap with the neighborhood kids or a mini trade event at the library. You can turn collecting into conversation and then turn the conversation back into something they're actually proud of. Our trend number 5 is throwback toys. Right? Nostalgia is always a seller, but here's what is interesting this time. It's not just adults buying toys that they remember. Teens and young adults who have never even played these toys are discovering them through social media and wanting them themselves. In fact, Pinterest reported a 140% surge in searches for 2000s era kid toys. So suddenly, toys from your childhood aren't just memories, they're cool. And the best part about this trend is that it has the highest payoff because the best way to use this trend isn't necessarily having to buy the throwback, it is becoming the throwback. Pull something from your own childhood and share it with your kids. Doesn't have to be the exact toy, but the kind of play, right? The games that you played growing up, the weird, funny things you did outside with the neighborhood kids. Maybe you still have something tucked away and bring it out, even if it's one little thing, because kids love origin stories. So when you say, when I was your age, this is what we did, you're not just sharing play, you're sharing identity and connection and a story that belongs to your family. And I also love the possibility of thinking what you really, really loved as a kid and what is really, really popular in that toy trend right now and finding a way to connect with your kid and starting it again. So if you were a big Pokemon collector back in the day and now your child's doing it, well, do it together. Okay, trend number 6, the final one, is what they're calling fan-driven play. It's basically meaning that licensing and fandom driving toy sales is way beyond blockbuster movies now. For decades, the toy industry hinged their toys on big movie releases. But after COVID scrambled all the release schedules, right? Like movies were not playing in the movie theater. Everything got off and supply chains problems and so on and so forth. The industry realized they can't keep putting all their eggs in that one basket. And now they're responding to cultural moments as if they are daily blockbuster hits, right? Streaming shows, sporting events, viral TikTok moments, whatever's hitting right now, there's probably a toy coming because fandom is faster and more personal than ever. But what does this mean for your playroom? Well, your child's fandom, whatever it is, let it be a doorway. It doesn't have to be a distraction. So if they love NBA basketball, right, well, lean into it and find some toys and games that live inside that world. Because when kids play inside their fandom, they stay engaged longer. They play more independently. They learn more. So a kid who loves basketball doesn't just get a toy, right? They can start learning about players and stats and teams and trades and history and strategy. That toy sparks the curiosity, and the curiosity takes over from there. So consider meeting them where they are, and then you can go from there. So those are the 6 trends for 2026. And here's your quick recap before you go. First, again, forever young. It's this idea of adult collectors are shopping the toy aisles too. So that means you need to shop early. July is not too soon, and consider playing along with your kids as you collect together. The second trend was about cozy culture, slowing down, taking a moment. And if you already have toys that let you do that, well, just make them visible and easy to grab so you can easily do that throughout the course of the day. The other trend was inspiring inventors. But instead of buying those toys necessarily, have your child start thinking like an inventor themselves. Create a creator box and give your child open-ended prompts to try to create the latest and greatest toy themselves. Then there is this express yourself, turning collecting into conversation, not just purchase. Then you have throwback toys where the best nostalgic toy your kid has access to is actually you. So share your childhood with them. And then lastly, fan-driven play. Meet your kid inside their fandom and then let curiosity and connection do the rest. So 6 trends with 6 ways to get more out of play this year. And if you love this episode, I appreciate you hitting subscribe wherever you're listening and watching. It really does help families find the show. And of course, come hang out with me on social media at Playroom Chronicles. And if you want free resources for your playroom, guides, downloads, and simple ways to get your kids playing more, well, then head to my website at playroomchronicles.com. Until next time, happy playing.